Hello, my name is Trevin. Welcome in to the Blazers Uprise post-game show. The Blazers lose tonight to the San Antonio Spurs, 1-0. Keljin Blevins had himself a good basketball game. Keon Johnson had himself a good basketball game. Keon Johnson, 20 points. Keljin Blevins, 10 points. Brandon Williams, 17 points. For the Spurs, Devin Vassell, 22 points. Keldon Johnson, 21 points. The Blazers fall to 27-50. The San Antonio Spurs are 32-45. Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. My name is Trevin. I will be taking over for Tori and Eric for the rest of the season. In my opinion, free Tori and free Eric. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Blazers Uprise post-game show. So earlier today, me and Eric got fired, but they can't find anybody to fill in for us right now, so we're going to be lame duck co-hosts for the rest of the season. Eric, the higher-ups here at Blazers Uprise, were mad that we were rooting for the Blazers to lose. They want us to, they hired us so that you could do voices. Okay, so that you could do angry voices, so that we could rage about everything, and they were unhappy with us not being real Blazer fans and taking joy in the Blazers losing games. So, the Blazers tonight, just a terrible performance on the road in San Antonio, losing 130-111. This team is almost eliminated from playoff contention, and I know that's breaking your heart, isn't it?
Yeah, just sad. I was really hoping Blazers would win this game. I've found a new love for the Blazers to win games. I'm sick of them losing, so I was really disappointed in it.
Yep, I've been hoping they reached the 30-win threshold all season, and it's looking like that might be difficult, and it's just an absolute shame. CJ Ellaby tonight, 0 points, 0 for 8 from the field, terrible performance, cut him. This is not helping the organization whatsoever. Keljin, dude, Keon Johnson showed up, okay, which is good because did you see Rocco had 43 points today?
Yes, he did.
And that's
11 threes.
Yeah, 11 threes for Rocco. So at least we got Keon Johnson back in the trade. I still think that's a great trade. Keon Johnson, 8 for 15, 4 for 6 from 3. He can snipe too. 20 points for him. Other than him, the only other player who showed up today was Keljin Blevins. 10 points in 19 minutes per 36. That's like 30 points. So he had a phenomenal game. He was trying to help us win this game, trying to do his cousin proud, and the rest of the team let him down.
Mm-hmm. Max Buckley asked, how are the Blazers not eliminated yet? Unfortunately, with this loss tonight, the Blazers are now officially eliminated. So
are they officially eliminated?
Right as we want them to win, it's impossible for them to even make the play-in. Yeah.
Huh. Okay, well, you know what? I just don't want a good draft pick. The Blazers and good draft picks don't go well, so I still want them to win games. I
know, man. The Kings won tonight. We got to keep up with them, right? We should have won tonight.
Yeah, you remember that tweet at the beginning of the season, Eric? And it was a Kings TV host or something saying that the Kings should be better than the Blazers, and you remember how infuriated we were with that sort of statement, and now that's just making us look terrible right now that we thought the Blazers would be better than the Kings because the Kings are 2 wins better than the Blazers.
Yeah, but the Blazers for the last 2 months have been purposely trying to lose, whereas the Kings actually wanted to make the play-in, so how sad is that?
Yeah, it just... I mean, the Kings are a travesty. Being worse than the Kings is quite an accomplishment. But, yeah, anyway.
Ethan doesn't realize what day it is.
Good. I'm hoping some people are confused because we're confused too. I don't know what's going on today. So, anyway, what did you think about this game, Eric? You know, we got to break down this game for the next hour and a half. So where do you want to start?
Well, just thank you to the Spurs, really, for, getting the job done tonight and beating us. Yeah, it's just, I was glad they came out and took care of business. I haven't been worried much lately in a lot of these games, but this one, early on, the first few minutes, I was like, oh, crap. It was tied in the, 3/4 of the way through the first quarter, I think. And I was like, oh man, this is going to be a tough game to lose. And then the Spurs all of a sudden were up by 13 a few minutes later. And I was like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. Start off 8-2 run to start this game for Portland. Drew Eubanks got a standing ovation.
And a video.
And a video in his return at San Antonio. He only played there, 3 seasons?
Something like that, yeah.
What do you think the cutoff should be before you get a tribute video?
I don't think there should be I guess it's just a case-by-case basis, but if they want to put a little video on, that's fine.
Yeah. I mean, 13 points, 6 rebounds, 3 assists in Drew Eubanks' return to San Antonio. He was a -22. Looking at plus-minus is weird because the best plus-minus on the team was Elijah Hughes in 7 minutes was a +12, and the only stat he recorded was 1 steal and 2 personal fouls. So, other than that, I mean, Reggie Perry looked solid again today. 1 for 2 from 3, 5 for 9 from the field, 11 points, 10 rebounds. In 19 minutes, the Blazers outscored the Spurs by 3 points when he was on the court, and this is coming off a big game that he had in the previous game against the Pelicans. So, I mean, Eubanks has had good moments, and we've kind of penciled him in as the third big man next year, but Reggie Perry's come in and had 2 good games, so I don't know if this is something that's going to get him a look, maybe a training camp look going into the next year or what, but, I mean, he was actually one of the bright spots tonight.
Yeah, Reggie Perry's a guy who I'm surprised hasn't latched onto a team yet. I mean, I think he's been on a few teams this year for 10-day contracts, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he catches on with the team or perhaps gets one of our final roster spots next year, but I just think if we keep draft picks, we're going to be fighting roster spots being available, and I don't know how much they'll give to guys like Reggie Perry a look this summer.
Yeah, absolutely agree. So anyway, no more April Fool's charade. That was fun. Did the voice changer work on the beginning? If it didn't, that would be really, really awkward.
It did, but you could tell it was
of course. No, I programmed Trevin with my own voice because I programmed Trevin. Trevin is my robot. Okay, I programmed him to play video games with us. He's gamed with us for how long, Eric? Over a year, and we've
it's actually way over a year.
Never actually talked to him because he's a robot. Anyway, I don't even know. That was fun to set up. Good. Always good to troll Trevin. Especially because Trevin was trolling Jackson earlier today, so I had to get Jackson's back and troll Trevin. But the Blazers at this point, Eric, you want to just talk about Tankathon? I also forgot to plug in my ring light, so I need to do that. Where do you want to go? I also unplugged my headphones. I'm all out of sorts. You want to jump into Tankathon? You want to talk more about this game? What do you want to do?
Yeah, let's talk about Tankathon, but just to let my mom know, there's only 5 games left, so you'll be out of your misery soon.
Yep. it's what, April 1st, so the last game is April 10th, 10 days from now. So, I mean, enjoy this while it lasts.
There's only one more home game, too, so she only has one more game to have to go to. Oh, my goodness. Anyway, your guys' fake trades and fake rumors are allowable today, and today only, okay? Just gonna put that out there. Speaking of that, you know how LeBron had the stupid tweet like, "Oh, sorry, I'm being shut down for the season" or whatever?
Yeah.
They had to tell Frank Vogel before he tweeted it that it was fake, just so he didn't get like upset or like really.
That's fun. No, they should have told him. That would have made it better, man.
I know.
I mean, but that dude is probably Vogel's probably really stressed out.
Well, I just saw a tweet that saying like he took AD and LeBron out at the same time, but he was doing all these weird substitutions and stuff. Like, I don't know what he's doing, but
yeah, they're playing right now. They're playing the Pelicans. Important game. We'll keep you tuned with that game. There's a lot of important taking games today. Let's just jump into the Tankathon. Let me pull it up here because I don't have it loaded and I can't type the name. And let's get some flow to this post-game show. And let me give me like a good, I don't know, 10 seconds here. Just kidding. I don't need 10 seconds. Boom, there it is. Okay. All right. No stalling for you, Eric. So Portland's in 6th, which after they lost to the Pelicans and the Kings beat the Rockets, the Blazers passed the Kings. Then the Blazers obviously lost tonight, and the Kings beat the Rockets again.
Thank you.
So at this point, how comfortable are you that Portland's going to be the 6th best lottery odds?
I'm feeling very good now. Very, very good.
Yeah, I don't think the Blazers have 2 more wins left in them this season and 5 games left.
I don't think the Pacers do either. So.
You want Utah to be playing for playoff positioning in this game. Same with Dallas. You don't want Utah to be resting a bunch of guys because that could be a potential win. And then obviously we still got San Antonio, which I don't think we're gonna lose, or I don't think we're gonna beat San Antonio. But OKC's a game in which the Blazers could hypothetically win. So worst case scenario, I see them maybe beating OKC, and then if Utah rests a bunch of guys, they could beat Utah. Isn't Utah tied with Dallas right now, or like really close to Dallas?
Yeah, the whole 3 through 6, I think, is bunched up right now.
Yeah, so Utah should hopefully have something to play for last day of the season. But also that applies to Sacramento, who plays Phoenix on the last day of the season, and Phoenix has clinched the 1 seed. So even if Portland wins 2 games, I still feel like the Kings, I mean, this is a tough Final 4 games. I don't think they're going to be Golden State, New Orleans, who's playing for play-in positioning, or the Clippers, who looked great today and against a beat-up Milwaukee Bucks team. But Rocco had 43, the Clippers went off, so I don't think they're winning the next 3 games. But that final game, Phoenix is a game that Phoenix could be playing just absolute scrubs, and the Kings will too. It's going to be a game, like you remember the. I mean, everybody remembers this, but the Anthony Simons, Gary Trent Jr., Scala Bissiere final game of the regular season when the Blazers' playoff positioning still mattered, and they still played their scrubs, and it was a close game.
Mm-hmm.
I want 6th locked up before the final day of the season, because I could see us beating OKC, and then Sacramento not winning another game until the last day of the season, and then on the last day of the season we have 28 wins, Sacramento has 29, and we're sitting there like, dang, we could fall into a 6-7 tie.
Like Brandon Williams scores 40 points or something.
Yeah. So I do feel pretty comfortable that I don't think we'll be alone in 7th. I think in the worst case scenario, we're tied with Sacramento for 6th, which would even out the odds between 37 and 32%. So it wouldn't make a huge difference. But obviously, we could fall a spot if we don't move into the top 4.
Mm-hmm. Real quick, shout out to Nolan Marshall with a great message, Canadian $10 donation. Says, Raptors fan here, hoping this is your Tampa season from the season that the Raptors played in Tampa Bay, and you come out of it with the joy of a player to watch like Scotty Barnes. A taking season is tough to endure, but it'll be worthwhile.
Appreciate it.
Couldn't agree more.
The positive message, man, because we're just riding things out. Scotty Barnes has been really good this year. 4th overall pick. Was looked at. He was projected 5, and then Toronto took him at 4, kind of surprised people, taking him over Jalen Suggs. That would be like taking maybe an AJ Griffin at 4 over a Jaden Ivey. As I'm a Gonzaga fan, it looks like it was the right pick to take Scotty Barnes at 4. I will admit that. So hopefully the Blazers can have similar results from this sort of tank job. Now, I feel comfortable with Portland being 6 because I don't think Indiana's going to win 2 games. Indiana had a close battle today with Boston. They ended up losing by 5 after losing to Denver by 7. So they've been in some games. I didn't mean to click on Atlanta. Indiana's been in some games, but they haven't taken care of business in crunch time. They're playing Detroit next. The thing is, Detroit's playing well. I said that yesterday and didn't take them, and I should have.
Detroit tried to tank today, but they were playing the Thunder and got out-tanked. Yep.
So, I mean, maybe Indiana wins that game. I don't see them getting another win. I don't think it's likely. And people were really, invested in this Boston game, and it just felt like the whole time, even though Indiana was close, that's like, oh, they're still going to find a way to lose this game.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't have confidence in the Blazers catching Indiana. I think at best it would be a tie, which would even out the odds at like 40% for the top 4, but I would take a tie at that point. It would be phenomenal to catch Indiana. I just don't think Indiana has 2 wins left in them. So you're looking at Portland probably being the 6th best lottery odds, which if you told me that would be the case like 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, I would have taken it.
Yeah, for sure. I think you should put up your tweet real quick about the percentages for each spot.
Okay. Yeah, I can...
Because it illustrates what I've been trying to tell people is that if we get 6, the chances are we won't be picking 6th.
Yeah, I'll do that. I just got to click off the browser because the browser obviously is what I'm displaying. So let me pull up a new window. Okay, and I'm just going to screenshot my tweet and add it as an image. So just give me a second on that.
Well, so AJ says, man, I regret having that 4-game win streak.
Mm-hmm.
Once again, that'll be the thing, though. If we move up out of the 6th spot and the Pacers don't, then we could be happy again about the win streak, right? And if the 5th spot moves up and we move down and from the 6th spot to like 7th or 8th, then we can go back to blaming that 4-game win streak.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is during that win streak, I felt like I was the only one that wasn't just outright enjoying it. And I knew we were going to be sitting here like April saying, oh, we should have just lost those games. I wish we didn't win those games. It was fun at the time for sure. But yeah, definitely would have been nice at this point to have just lost those games.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I got it saved. I'll throw it up as an image. I'll throw it up over this. Let's just do that. Pick odds. All right. So these are the actual odds if the Blazers are 6th. Let me center this. This is the actual odds that they get each pick. Okay, so they actually only have an 8.6% chance of getting the 6th pick, and that's because to get the 6th pick, the Blazers obviously wouldn't move into the top 4, but then it also means that no teams below the Blazers would move into the top 4. Mm-hmm. Because if the Blazers don't move into the top 4 and a team below them does, they fall down to 7th. If 2 teams below them jump into the top 4, they fall down to 8th. If 3 teams jump into the top 4, they fall down to 9th. And, if something crazy happens and 4 teams move up into the top 4 that were below the Blazers, then obviously the Blazers will fall to 10th. So they can't get 5th. And it's unlikely that they get 6th. It's actually more likely that they would get the 1st overall pick. The most likely pick they'd get is actually 7th.
Mm-hmm.
Almost a 30% chance of getting 7th. And the next closest pick is a 20% chance of getting 8th. So they have a 50% chance of actually falling down to 7 or 8.
And roughly 40% or a little under 40% of moving up. 37. Yeah. What is it, 37?
37% chance of moving into the top 4. So it'd basically be a slightly over 50% chance that they'd fall and a slightly under 50% chance that they'd stay at 6 or move up, which I will take those odds. It would be phenomenal to move up to 5 because then, if you fall a spot in the draft, instead of falling from 6 to 7, you fall from 5 to 6, and you're still most likely guaranteed Sharp or Griffin, assuming those are the two guys that the Blazers would want there.
Yeah, and it's important to note we cannot get the 5th pick unless we finish 5th.
Yeah.
But I also the interesting thing is if we get 7th or 8th, that means one of the teams below us moves up, which means possibly the Pelicans, because they're one of 7 teams or 8 teams that could move up in that scenario.
Yeah, let's look at their odds right now if you want.
So that's the worst part about moving back, is that gives the Pelicans a chance to move up, whereas if we move up, that leaves one less spot for them to move up into the top.
But, assuming they don't play their way in through the play-in, we'll know if New Orleans jumps up first. We'll know that, once we get to their pick. The thing is, right now, they only have a 14% chance of moving into the top 4, so like a 1 in 7 chance. That's not too scary. It's still nerve-wracking because it's always like, oh, what if we just absolutely get screwed and the Blazers fall from 6 to 8 and lose the New Orleans pick on draft lottery day? I'm going to be so nervous. That's going to be maybe the most nervous I've ever been on a stream. And that's the thing, is that the draft lottery, the Blazers are going to find out their fate and maybe the fate of their franchise with Damian Lillard like that. They start announcing the picks as 14, 13, 12. Like, they'll announce 14 through 5 within 2 minutes. You're going to find out like that. So it's going to be sitting on pins and needles there on that draft lottery stream, which we will live stream the draft lottery right here on the main channel. We'll have graphics for that and everything. But that's why I wouldn't mind them, New York or Washington passing them. Because that's the thing, is they move down. Sure, they moved down from 10 to 12, but I think that's better than us losing their pick. So I'll just take them having less odds at the top 4 at that point.
Yep.
So, otherwise, they could still... if they lose today, they're currently playing the Los Angeles Lakers. Do you know this? Do you have the score up? I can check.
42-40, 44-40 now.
Yeah, that game is on NBA TV, so if you have NBA TV, you can watch that game. Obviously, that matters. And the big deal with this game is if the Lakers have... If New Orleans wins this game, they're in the play-in. Plain and simple, because they'd be 3 wins ahead of the Lakers. And I think they'd have the tiebreaker, because they recently beat the Lakers as well. I don't know that for sure, but I think they would have the tiebreaker. So this game is very important, because if the Lakers are able to win... then the Lakers and Spurs will be tied for 10th and 11th, but there'll only be 1 win behind the New Orleans Pelicans. Now, the Blazers still have a game against San Antonio left and a game against New Orleans left. It could be a situation where that game against New Orleans, Eric, is on April 7th. If Portland is pretty much locked up sitting in 6th place in terms of lottery odds, maybe that's a game Portland tries to beat New Orleans. Assuming they lose to San Antonio. Maybe that's a... Because who hasn't been ruled out for the season? I forget.
For who?
Like the Blazers and players. Has Josh Hart been ruled out for the season?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Or he might be a week. No, yeah. Winslow and Simons got ruled out. Hart, I think, is reevaluated in a week or something. I don't know.
Yeah, which, I don't know if he has a serious injury or not, but maybe if you're sitting there like, oh yeah, we're going to end up 6th in lottery odds, we have 3 games left, but we're still 2 wins behind Indiana, and we're 2 or maybe even 3 wins at that point ahead of Sacramento, that's a game that I would want to win on the 7th in that scenario over New Orleans.
Just for the record, Pelicans are 2-0 before this game against the Lakers, so yes, they have the tiebreaker.
Yeah, so New Orleans wins this game, they're in the play-in. If they lose this game, they still have the tiebreaker, but it could end up being a 3-team tie, and that those odds are different. So if New Orleans loses this game, they're still probably going to be in the play-in, but it's more... It's possible that they couldn't be. It's not likely, but it's possible. So that's something to watch out for with the rest of this game. I wish, our game was a little bit later so we'd have a conclusion to this game and know for sure, but that's what's on the line here. And then obviously once that game's finalized, we can look at things going forward. If New Orleans wins, then I'm not even paying attention to the Lakers, San Antonio, or New Orleans for the rest of the regular season.
Yep. And then since this is going to come up very often, like all good mentions in chat, the play-in game only affects who makes the 7th and 8th seed. So if you lose either of the play-ins or you lose the 9-10-1, everything gets defaulted to the regular season record. So if New Orleans wins the first play-in and loses the second play-in, they go back to whatever spot they had prior to the play-in. So the play-ins have no bearing on their lottery position, only if they make the playoffs or not.
But isn't it like if New Orleans is the 9th seed and San Antonio's the 10th seed, and then say San Antonio wins both playing games, wouldn't that pick move up from 10 to 9 because San Antonio would be in the playoffs?
Yes, but that means it's affected by the teams making the playoffs, not the record itself.
Yeah, so
that's what I'm saying. It's only affected by whichever teams make the playoffs, not what a team that loses the play-in does in the play-in, if that makes sense.
Yep, got you. So that's the thing is if, New Orleans is the 9th seed, if the 10th seed finds their way into the playoffs through the play-in, then their pick would move into like 15th or 16th or whatever because they'd be a playoff team. And then, say the Clippers fell out through the play-in because it'd have to be the Clippers or Minnesota falling out through the play-in, then their pick would be put in the top 14 in the lottery. But since they have a better record than New Orleans, that would basically just end up bumping New Orleans up. So that is something to watch out for, but I don't even care about that. I just want New Orleans to lose in the play-in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if they're picks 9th, 10th, 12th. They obviously cannot play their way into the playoffs. And I'm going to be... Dude, it's like we've been rooting for the Blazers to lose. I'm going to be rooting harder for, like, the Lakers potentially to win against New Orleans than I've rooted for the Blazers to win in months, which is just freakishly weird.
Hyperprime Massive Zion is ruled out for the season. They said he was out. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be surprised if he played this year.
Yep, agree. Let's simulate this thing, Eric. Let's see if we get some luck. All right. We didn't get lucky on the last post-game stream. Hopefully we can get lucky on this one. Look at all those ties. 26, 24, 21, 19. Lots of ties there. Might be a lot of coin flips. We shall see. At 14, you have Atlanta. At 13, Charlotte. At 12, Washington. At 11, New York. We're hoping this is the Blazers pick here from New Orleans. It is. Good news. At 9, you got San Antonio. No teams moved up. This is perfect so far. At 8, you got Sacramento, which means that we're due up at 7, and we are 7th. Okay? So given this positioning, this would be the most likely draft lottery result for the Portland Trail Blazers. As I said earlier, highest chance that they end up at 7, even though they have the 6th best odds. That's 30% chance.
Who moved up? The frickin' Lakers pick again? Jeez.
The Lakers pick moved up.
The Pelicans always get lucky, man.
I know. God. See, like, I'll be like, okay, at least we got both picks, and at least we only fell one spot. But, if it's the Lakers pick moving up, I'm going to be very upset. Houston falls 4 spots. So you also have Indiana, Detroit, and OKC in the top 4, along with New Orleans via the Lakers. At 4, you have New Orleans via the Lakers, so Jaden Ivey probably. At 3, Indiana. At 2, OKC. And at 1, Detroit. So at 7, Eric, with 7 and 10, what would be your, like, plan A, plan B? Like, what would you try and do?
At 7, I'm taking who's ever left between Sharp, AJ Griffin, and Mathurin. And at 10...
You want me to pull up the mock draft?
You can if you want. But,
right,
10... I'm probably thinking about if a team wants to move up from, like, 15 or whatever. Possibly taking two mid-teen pick, like a mid-teen pick and a 20s pick or something for that. But yeah.
So how low would this Pelicans pick to the Blazers need to be for you to take 15 and 30 from OKC for it?
Okay, here's a question for you. I've been thinking about this a lot today.
Okay.
Would you rather in that scenario, because OKC, right, they have so many picks, they probably would do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 15 and 30 or 15 and like a future lottery protected first.
I mean, I'd take the future lottery protected first because we have 4 picks already. No need for 5.
Right. So that's probably what I would do.
But this might be the perfect spot to draft Koloko.
Yeah.
Honestly, here's what I'd do. I'd say, all right, if you guys want to move up to 10, we agree on a trade, but we get our choice.
But
we're obviously
30.
Yeah, because obviously we're getting 15. It's either 15 and 30 or 15 in the future lottery protected first, all right? Mm-hmm. So we draft the player the Thunder want at 10. They draft the player we want at 15. Then when we get to 30, depending on who's on the board, that will determine if we go with 15 and 30 or if we want 15 and a future first.
Mm-hmm.
And if OKC was willing to do 15 in a future first, I think they would be down with giving us the option of 15 and 30 because 30 obviously is the worst first-round pick. But it's like if you got a guy like Koloko that falls to there and you have a top 20 grade on him, then you take the 15 and 30 and you take Koloko.
Mm-hmm.
So that's creative GMing, but that is something that would be very possible. So that's what I would do in that situation. Which
Petro Boomin, we're not using this as a mock draft. We're just using it so we can be reminded of some of the players available at each spot.
Yep. I'm not putting too much stock into this mock draft.
And since we got, a most likely a small forwardish player, whether it be Sharp or AJ Griffin or whoever at 7. I mean, if they're the best player, I would take another one. But at this point, I'd probably just take who's ever left between, like, Eason, Sohan, Jovic, Daniels, just like one of those type of guys.
Yeah, I think if any of these top 9 fall to 10, you just take them, even if it's Johnny Davis, which might seem weird to people, but he's a better prospect than anybody else left here. Like I think he's a tier above. So I think there's a top 4, okay, because I think you can insert Ivy with this top 3. This top 3 I think is a little bit ahead of Ivy, but I could see Ivy being taken at 2 or 3 depending on who's drafting there. So you're kind of looking at top 4, I expect this to be the top 4 with Holmgren, Smith, Banchero, and Ivy. And then you have another tier below that, which is looking like Keegan Murray, AJ Griffin, Shaden Sharp. Now, this is obviously suspect to change. Like a team at 5 could fall in love with Johnny Davis or Mathurin and take him. It just feels like you have a tier in the top 4, a tier from 5 to 7 with Murray, Griffin, and Sharp, and then you have Mathurin and Johnny Davis kind of like the next tier at 8 and 9. That's kind of what it feels like looking at mocks lately. But obviously that is highly suspect to change. And then after that you have, then you get into a lot of even players, in my opinion, with like Eason, Duran, Dyson Daniels, maybe, Sohan, Agbaji, and so forth. So let's get a better lottery.
Is there a chance Sharp falls a bit because teams are scared? No, I think it's actually the opposite. I think he'll get stronger because teams don't know.
Do you think he will go above Murray and Griffin?
That's questionable. I think it's going to be... I'm going to wait for workouts to say whether I think that or not, but I think it's definitely possible he could go 5th.
Yep. I mean, I'd be happy with Griffin. That's the thing that's nice being 6 is if we fall one spot to 7th, we still get Griffin or Sharp, hopefully. I would rather have both of them over Keegan Murray at this point, but like if Keegan Murray falls to 7, I guess. Dude, I got a feeling Keegan Murray's going to be our first round pick. Like, I have a feeling that Keegan Murray's going to be a Blazer next year. Like, you're going to have Keegan Murray and you're going to have Dyson Daniels as Blazers next year.
Yeah, I mean, I like Keegan, so it wouldn't be the worst thing.
Yeah, that's my gut feeling. Dude, I cannot get the Blazers into the top freaking 4. The Pelicans are 1 with their own pick. Dude, can we... This site is biased against the Portland... Oh, they gave us 4 with Ivy. Yeah, I mean, we've just... Is there... I like discussing new scenarios because there's obviously so many different scenarios. Is there any type of scenario that you want to discuss in terms of where our lottery picks end up?
No, but there was a funny scenario that was discussed in a group chat this morning about if the Knicks got the second pick, would the Pelicans trade them Zion? And in this particular one, they had the first pick too.
Yeah,
that'd be crazy if they got like 2 top 4 picks and ended up with Ivy and one of the power forwards. But
imagine if it's the Pelicans pick, the Lakers pick, and the Knicks pick in the top 4, and the Pelicans get 3 of the top 4 picks because they trade Zion for the Knicks pick.
Yeah.
That'd be funny. Let's get the Knicks. Yeah, so like Knicks if they're 1. I mean...
Yeah, I don't know if they trade the first pick, but I'd do that if I was the Pelicans.
I feel like the Knicks would for sure do that. That would be such a Knicks trade. And then he just is always hurt or something. What other... I'm trying to think, because there's so many different, obviously, possibilities. This is just disgusting. There's so many different possibilities with who ends up in the top 4. I'm trying to think of like a scenario where...
Oh, real quick, Christian had a $2 donation earlier.
Yeah, I can't bring up chat because I'm on them.
Keon Johnson looking more confident now.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, he had a good game today. That's what I was saying is you need to play him over Ben McLemore. Give him this chance to develop and give him experience. This is what he needs, so...
Yeah, it's going to be, till the end of time, the same problem I've had, and that's I still don't understand where he gets minutes, even if he is good. So, I mean, if the better he is, I guess the more trade value he might have this summer, which is good. But as we talked about, I don't remember if that, it was last show. There's tons of guys on the Blazers especially that are showing out and putting up great numbers if you're just like another team being like, oh, look at what this guy's doing, but you have to take it all with a grain of salt, I think.
Yep. This is an interesting one. The Pelicans potentially being a trade down target from 1 to 3. Whenever the Blazers get 1 in lottery sims, I always like seeing who's 3, because that's like a trade down spot where you just take 1 at Chet, Jabari, and Bencaro who's left. Pelicans could be interesting because they have a couple different future firsts.
You know what I was thinking? You know how in a bunch of other drafts there's like the Nolan Smith, Kenneth Faried draft for Portland. Mm-hmm. Like there was that rumor that because we traded for Raymond Felton or whatever.
Yeah.
And there was a rumor that we had an agreement that if we wouldn't take Kenneth Faried or something and we take someone else. That'd be awesome if that was part of our deal. I mean, I'm sure Cronin didn't think of this, but if we both got top 4 picks, that they would trade us down for like a second rounder or something. Like,
yeah, huh? Yeah,
like if we got 4th and they were 2nd or something,
Yeah, I mean,
like the Aldridge, Tyrese Thomas type trade, because I could see them wanting Ivy anyway, so it wouldn't really matter to them.
Ivy would make a ton of sense there. See, like, okay, so let's say that there's rumors and you don't know for sure, but you have a feeling that in this scenario, the Pelicans are going to take Ivy at 3. Do you trade down from 1 to 4?
If Oh, this is tough because uh, I have. I think we are a contender as early as next year if we have Jabari Smith.
Uh,
And so if we don't get Jabari, had a chance to, that might be a pain in my head for the rest of the time. But I would be very happy with any of the top three. Yeah. So yeah, I'd probably do it, especially if they give us like another first.
Yeah, I'm not that high on anybody in this draft having that sort of impact as a rookie.
I just think his fit is perfect. Yeah. What I wonder if the Kings would like someone enough though.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. My thing with Jabari is I know he's going to be a good shooter right off the bat, but I'm not confident in him being like legitimately NBA good his rookie year at anything else. Like in time, I think he'll be good at a number of different things, but as a rookie, I don't know. The problem is he played with very suspect guards, but like just his ball handling off the dribble game is something to develop. His playmaking game, I don't think that'll be good right away. Defensively, I think he'll be a good defense player. I'm just not sure that rookies struggle defensively, so I'm not sure he's gonna have a huge defensive impact. But that's like the case for I don't think any player takes us there.
I just think because I watched a lot of Jabari Smith games because I love him, but like I've gone through and watched like a lot of his shots he took, and it's like so many like tough contested shots with a guy in his face shooting a three or off a pull up on a three with being heavily guarded, or like a turnaround jumper from the mid range with someone in his face. I just feel like at the next level, especially playing on a team with guards like Dame and Ant and having a good passing center and stuff, like it's just going to free him up so much, and the game's just going to come so much easier to him. Now, I don't think they'll be good like right off the bat necessarily, but like towards the end of the season, as long as we're in playoff contention, I think he's going to be so comfortable in that situation that it'll be really good. And he's the best out of the three forwards in terms of guarding like quick wings on the perimeter. So I have confidence that his defense will help the needs of our defense more than the other two. Not that Chet's necessarily bad at that either. I just think, but once again, I'm not saying that he's going to be the better player than Chet or whatever. But I think this year, the first year, I think he's the best.
I'd be curious to see his 3-point percentage on open catch and shoot looks.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know that? Do you know that stat, or do you know where to find that stat?
Not for college players. I don't know if anyone in chat knows that.
Chat, if somebody could get me Jabari Smith's catch and shoot percentage on open threes, I'd be very intrigued, because like there's certain guys where it's like they'll shoot the same if they're contested or not, which is good skill to have, but it's like, I almost want to see him like be a 50% shooter on open catch and shoot threes. You know what I mean? Like, because he's going to get more of those in the NBA, so his shooting might be even better in the NBA.
John says 43.7.
Wasn't his 3-point percentage like 42.5?
Something like that, yeah.
So relatively close, yeah. I mean,
dude, his shot is so pretty though. Like I love his form. Like there's something. It's kind of like LaMarcus's, where he shoots really high and has a good follow through and stuff. It's tough because you can get it off of anyone.
Yeah, I mean, see, my whole thing with him was he almost fell in love a little too much with the mid range though. I wouldn't want him to play like LaMarcus, because LaMarcus. I remember, like, LaMarcus could always hit that turnaround fade, could always hit those mid-range shots, but it's like there's times where it's like you just want him to attack, get to the line, get to the rim, and he just settled for those, and it's like LaMarcus was never actually all that efficient.
Mm-hmm. But that's why I think having a coach like Chauncey will like teach him to do that. So
Yeah, and he'll have more space in the NBA, so it's like he'll like driving lanes. I think it might be actually a little bit easier for him to drive.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it's just hard because he played in college. You have less spacing, but then he played on an Auburn team that struggled to shoot anyway. They shot like 32% on the season from three, so the spacing, even by college standards, was not good at Auburn. And then you had guards that just, dude, I did not trust Auburn in the tournament this year because their guards they don't play a smart brand of basketball. Mm-hmm. And my bracket this year got absolutely busted, but I dropped a top or 6 high seeds that I don't trust in March Madness. The top 4 seeds were Baylor, who lost in the second round, Kentucky, who lost in the first round, Auburn, who lost in the second round, and then Wisconsin, who lost in the second round. So and then my whole reasoning for Auburn was I don't trust their guards, and if Jabari Smith has an off night with how suspect their guards are, they're going to lose, and that's exactly what happened at the game they lost to Miami.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I'm very intrigued by Jabari. I'm intrigued by Chet and I'm intrigued by Paulo.
Right,
you know what I mean? So it's like, oh, if New Orleans is 3 and they are going Ivy, I would probably just want to trade down to 4. But I mean, it depends on what Sacramento was offering. Because I don't know what their future picks are like. Are there any like young prospects that they could offer with 4 that you'd want?
Like
they don't really have any.
I mean, I don't think we need Davion Mitchell or anything. Like,
nope.
He's their only.
If only they still had Halliburton, man. Imagine 1 for 4 in Halliburton. That would have been fun. Yeah. But I don't think they would have done that.
I think you're probably looking at. Let me make sure that. Well, did they give up a future pick in the?
I don't know.
Pacers trade.
Like, if they want somebody desperately, if you could get 4 and maybe even an unprotected first, probably have to be top 3, top 4 protected. I don't think they go unprotected, but even then.
They still have our 2025 second. We could probably get that back in addition to They don't owe any future first, so they could do like a. I think what the Boston one was top 1 protected or something.
Yeah.
To move down from 1 to 3 with Philly.
Where it's like, oh, well, if we get a chance at Wembanyama, we keep our pick, but if not, you guys can have it.
I mean, maybe they're dumb not to even do
I mean...
I don't see in this draft, like, I don't understand why any team in the top 4 would do that unless they wanted one of the forwards and didn't want Ivy. But like you said, in this scenario, the Pelicans would be taking Ivy.
We're all pretty even on Chet, Jabari, and Banchero, and it seems like a lot of people are. But when you get around draft time and workout time, like teams are going to fall in love with like one of those guys and really want them because Sacramento will be able to work out all 3 of them. And if Chet and Banchero have suspect workouts or just mediocre workouts, and then Jabari Smith just kills it, I could absolutely see the Kings being like, we need Jabari Smith no matter what.
Yeah, I think because the Sixers really wanted a point guard, right? But so it has to do with position. But when all 3 players play the same position, it's kind of tough.
I mean, do you think some teams might not see Chet as a power forward?
It's possible.
Which I actually got into that argument with somebody the other day. But I think Chet's completely fine as a power forward. I think that's actually the better position to play him at early in his career.
Well, in the Kings case, who do you think's the best fit next to Sabonis out of those 3?
Chet. Because Sabonis doesn't protect the rim well. It doesn't play good on the perimeter. Like, defensively, he doesn't have a position. That's the thing with Sabonis. That's why I never wanted Sabonis for the Blazers. You can't play him at the 4, in my opinion, because he's not good defending out on the perimeter, and he doesn't shoot threes, so he doesn't space the court. And then when you play him at the 5, that's better for him offensively, but defensively, he's not a rim protector. So you need a stretch big that can defend 4s, but then also defend the rim. So Chet, I think, would be the perfect fit next to him because he can do those things. And Gonzaga connection, which would be dope. But
Let me get caught up on some donations real quick. XC Depp, $5 donation. Longtime watcher, first time donator. Thanks for the coverage, dudes. Thank you for always watching.
Thank you,
I see you
XC Depp. Appreciate you.
Chat, so we appreciate your consistent watching. Adam McVeigh with an Australian $5 donation. Out of the top three, who makes the greatest impact for our team to fit in with Dame's timeline?
So, greatest impact over the next 3 to 5 years? Is that what we're...
I guess, yeah.
This changes my opinion on this changes every day. I appreciate the dono, Adam. My opinion on this, dude, like, I dropped a big board for GC only. I'm not gonna leak it, but like on that particular day, I was just thinking about Banchero, and I was like, you know what? I'm putting Banchero number one. And then the next day, I'm like, I'm putting. I think I had like it changes literally every day. I'm so divided on these three.
This is like the first time in a long time that I can honestly say I don't think there's a right answer necessarily.
Yeah.
And whatever player I pick is not a slight on any of the others because I think they could all have equal impacts in that 3 to 5 year timeline. So I'm not worried about it. But like I mentioned a little earlier, I just think if we keep Nurk, keep Ant, we have Hart and Nas to play some minutes at the 3. I think getting Jabari shooting potential in that lineup, and then you have 3 potentially lights out 3-point shooters, 2 good perimeter defenders, hopefully between the 3 of Hart, Nas, and Jabari, and then you still have Nurk for rim protection. I just think that's the best possible scenario, the quickest, to get good the quickest. But I still think the other ways are fine. Like those can lead to us being good as well.
Yeah, for me, it's just like we got to figure out how to become as good as possible defensively. That's like where everything starts and ends with me, is like how can we get the defense good enough? Because like a Dame Ant backcourt is still... I'm hoping that Dame will be the best he's ever been defensively now that he's, healthier than he's been in years, and I trust Ant to become an average defender. But still, it is a little bit suspect defensively, so that's why I've said Chet for a while now, is I just think Chet will be the best defensive player out of the 3, and I think he'll have the best defensive impact next year. So if I'm just drafting based off defense, it's Chet. But then, like, Chet can also shoot threes and shows flashes of ball handling and passing and being able to bring the ball up and that sort of thing. So, like, Jabari Smith's a better shooter than him. Banchero's a better playmaker, better ball handler than him. But I think Chet does enough offensively where it's like you just roll with his defense. You roll with his defense. That's kind of been my opinion on things all along, is the offense I think will be fine with any one of these 3 guys, so which one will make us the best defensively?
Yeah. I'm just worried that Chet's going to take a little bit of time to get NBA level defensive presence. I mean, I know he's quick enough to play the perimeter. I'm not saying he'll be bad on defense. I'm just saying, like, because he definitely needs to bulk up to be the true rim protector he could be. And I just think it's going to take a little bit of time, not as long as some people are. I wouldn't not draft him because of that, but
yeah, I don't think he needs to bulk up to protect the rim. Maybe to like reach his full potential, it would definitely matter. But I still think like he's going to come in and be a top shot blocker in the league next year. Because that's the thing. Like his length is obviously going to translate, but like he reads the game quickly defensively. Like he rotates quickly. That's like the underrated part of him, is like his shot blocking instincts are good. He's quick off the ground, doesn't take a lot of time to kind of like load up and get off the ground. And he gets to spots fast. He sees plays happening fast. So that's why I think, like the speed of the game, you always have to worry with rookies defensively, with the speed of the game, their rookie year, just kind of adjusting to that. But I just feel like Chet's going to be really good as a rim protector due to all of those things. And then, the strength will hopefully come where if guys drive into his chest, it won't, be as much of a benefit for the guy driving. You know what I mean? Because that's kind of the way you eliminate a shot blocker. You jump into their chest, you get them off balance, and then you finish. They can't get off the ground. But that's the thing is, like, Chet's so long, the guys, I've seen it all year here, guys will jump into his chest and, like, knock him off balance, and he doesn't even jump because of it, and he still blocks their shot.
Yeah, but that's going to be a lot tougher at the next level.
It is. But, I mean, like, you jump into, even strong players, you jump into their chest, and it neutralizes a bit.
Right. This is what I'm worried about, though. Sorry to bring this up, but like in the Arkansas game, I have a feeling that he's going to be one of those players that's always frustrated with the fouls they're calling on him early on in his career, because teams will try to attack him like that, and since he's not super strong, when they go into him, he'll have to like bend down a little bit so it looks like he didn't go straight up. You know what I mean? So
but he went straight up on two separate plays and got fouled. So
I know, but like think of how frustrated you were on that. Like it happens sometimes, especially with young bigs, that they don't get respect from refs.
He reacted pretty well considering it was the Sweet 16 and him fouling out in probably his last second of his Gonzaga career ends because of a call like that. You know what I mean? Like I feel like he's not the type of player to get rattled by calls, like he'll argue a call here and there, but I feel like, that was a game where he got absolutely screwed and he didn't fly off the handle or anything. So I don't know. It rookies take a while to get calls, but if you come in and you're a top level rookie and you have that sort of length, because there's a lot of plays where it's obvious where he doesn't foul, and hopefully NBA refs will be better than that, better than the refs in that game. I don't know. I'm not super worried because he didn't really. Every big's gonna have games where they have foul trouble, but there's a lot of times all year now in conference. There's a lot of. There's multiple teams in the WCC where the dude doesn't even have to jump off the ground to block shots, so he's not being put at risk for foul trouble. If he was playing in the Big 12, he would probably end up in foul trouble more in conference play. But I just feel like he knows how to defend cleanly. I don't think it's going to be a situation like we had with Zach Collins, where Zach Collins was always picking up 3 fouls in 8 minutes. I don't think it will quite be to that level as a rookie. But and I think you could say that thing for I think a lot of rookies. I think Jabari could foul a bit. So I don't know.
I just think because what's going to happen is from day one, teams are going to go right at Chet to try and bully him. And so I just think he's going to pick up. I think he's smart enough to adjust, so I don't think it'll be a long-term thing. Mm-hmm. But I just think early on in his career, he's going to have trouble trying to figure out how to not get called for fouls that he's not really fouling, but teams are just bodying him, and it's looking like he's fouling.
Well, he does a good job of he'll step up at a guy driving at him, and then he'll jump when he jumps to challenge their shot, he'll actually jump back a little bit and kind of suck in and kind of go with the guy. Yeah. And then he'll kind of, reach up, block his shot with his length. He does a good job of that. So that's the thing is Myers Leonard always struggled because he'd step up to a guy and then jump forwards into him and just meet him and just brutal collision is foul. But when a guy can step up in time, to be able to jump backwards, with a guy driving at him and absorb some of that contact by simply not just jumping into him and making it a violent collision. I feel like that helps keep guys out of foul trouble. It's kind of hard to illustrate, but he had a knack of not looking like he was fouling anybody all season long. You know what I mean? He did a pretty good job. So I'm not super worried. It's possible. It definitely is possible, and it's something you have to consider. He's just smart defensively. People think he's agile and whatnot, and he Obviously has a ton of length, so obviously that's going to help you defensively, especially in college. Like, it's hard not to be a good defensive player in college with that, but I was impressed with how his instincts and how smart he was defensively. So I trust that once he gets into the league and has some good mentorship, maybe it might take him, a little bit, but I feel like he's going to adjust pretty well.
Okay.
That's my feeling on it. I could be, I could be wrong, because it's just projecting. But
next donation was from Luis Nunez, $5. If the Pistons fall in the draft and take AJ Griffin, do you think they would be willing to trade Saddiq Bey? If so, what would you offer for him? I do. I mean, obviously, if they fall into the 6-7 range, I do think it's possible they take AJ Griffin. But I don't know. As much as I like Saddiq Bey, if we get 2 picks in this draft, almost one of them certainly is going to be a small forwardish type, right?
Yeah.
So I almost feel like we wouldn't really need Saddiq Bey in that situation. So
that's weird. That's a weird idea. Like, not like weird isn't bad. It's just like, I feel like they would be a team to go Murray, but obviously they have Grant, so that might be dependent on them trading Grant. I don't know if they see... I still think there's a chance they keep Grant. I don't think that's completely out of the window. Everybody thought they were going to trade Grant this trade deadline, and they didn't. So, that's the thing.
That's because they already had a deal in place with us.
I feel like they'd be the type of team to go with a Shaedon Sharp at 5. Maybe. And just play him at the 2. Like, Cade at the 1, him at the 2, and just go, like, big and dynamic. But, that's the thing. If you can, if the plan is to trade the Pelicans pick for Jeremy Grant and you can find a way to get Saddiq Bey thrown in there, then I'd be okay with that, I guess.
If we got the 12th pick, would you trade it for Saddiq Bey? Let's say we moved up in the top 4 and then got 12. So we got one of the big 3 forwards.
I don't know. I don't know how... The thing is with Saddiq Bey is, like, he's been in the league 2 years, but if you're talking about, like, his role and what he does on a team that wins, that's projecting because we haven't seen him play for a team that wins. You know what I mean?
He's like Mikal Bridges prior to Chris Paul being traded to the Suns.
Yeah. But did Mikal have a season that was as inefficient as this? Because he's been pretty inefficient this year.
Yeah, I think Mikal's first season wasn't good.
Yeah, I'll look it up and compare the two. Mikal was, 43% from the field, 33.5% from threes rookie year, but that improved to 51% for the field and 36% his second year, and that was the year they made, the bubble and went 8-0. So, there was improvement there, and then the next year he improved even more. With Saddiq Bey, he shot better last year in his rookie year from three. So I don't know, if that's like he can't get good shots, and if he plays next to Dame, he's going to be a 40% three-point shooter, but then on the other hand, it's like when you play for bad teams, a lot of players will put up better stats. So it's kind of hard to judge.
Yeah.
Without like watching a bunch of Pistons games, which I'm not going to do.
With Nas already and with the players we have available most likely to us at certain points in this draft, I think I'm out on Saddiq Bey. I just don't think we really need to give, unless they wanted to like throw him into a trade like you said. I don't think I'd give up much to get him.
Yeah, and you're a guy who likes Saddiq Bey.
Yeah, I like, but it's just for our team necessarily. Like,
yeah.
Now, if I'm in the mock-off season and I'm like, I don't know, the Denver Nuggets or something, and Saddiq Bey becomes available, like I might think completely different because their situation's different. But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. I appreciate your guys' donos. And are we caught up on them?
Nope. Boarding gets paid. Good old Annie, $5 donation. Thanks for the April Fool's Day chuckle, she says.
You're welcome. Had to do something.
Thanks
I do something
donation,
every
Annie.
year. Next year, me and Eric will probably beef or something. We'll figure out something for next year. Last year I did the alternate colors for team logos on picks against the spread. So it's always fun to have a little bit of fun, and I knew that tweet earlier today people would have fun with. and it set up the Trevin bit. So I'm glad you enjoyed it, Annie. Thank you for the dono. All right. Any other scenarios?
I would rather have Bay than Grant, even though
Yes.
some people don't agree with that. But he's much cheaper. He's on a rookie deal for 2 more years. Yeah. So.
Yes. Bring up other trade scenarios in chat. We'll answer them for the next 20 minutes and then wrap up the stream. When do the Blazers play tomorrow?
No, it's Sunday.
Sunday?
4:00.
Oh, God, get out of here.
That'll
be a short post-game show because I need to work Sunday evening.
So Wasting Dame's Time says, I'd be surprised if we traded Nas. He's cheap and good. 1 more year, though, on his rookie deal, and then he's not going to be cheap. But I was curious. What do you offer Nas in terms of extension this summer? I know this is always a tough question.
I would have a hard time offering him anything above $10 million a year.
Yeah.
He hasn't.
Well, he's not going to take anything less than that, obviously. But
I don't know what to think about Nasir Little because he still hasn't proven he can shoot from 3, and he still hasn't proven that he can be a consistently good defensive player. Like, he hasn't proven really. Like, he's shown flashes where it's like, okay, if he could just do that consistently, he would be a really, really freaking good player. So in terms of, like, his potential, I'm still high on it, and he's barely 22 years old. So I'm still high on him as a prospect, but it sucks that he got injured this year because this was, like, his chance to prove things. He just hasn't proven that he can consistently do anything well on a consistent basis. So it's hard for me to sit there and say, oh, yeah, I'd extend him for over $10 million a year.
Yeah. I mean, it's obviously with a guy like that, it's kind of projection-ish since he's been hurt so much. But I don't think he takes $10 million. It'll be like Trent and Simons and all those guys. Like, they'll play out their last year and bet on themselves. But I might offer him a little more than that just to see if he takes it. And then if he blows up, we'd have him on a good contract. It's a risk, of course, but you also risk the Simons thing where we maybe could have offered him 17, 18 million a season last year, which would have sounded insanely crazy, right? To give him that much money. But then he's probably going to get much more than that now.
Yeah, I mean, but, like, I'm okay with Simons proving it and then paying him a bit more than, like, taking the risk where, like, you pay a guy who just is not worth that contract and it becomes a negative asset over the length of the contract that you can't move easily.
Yeah.
So go
ahead. Yeah, so in January he did shoot over 40% from 3. And in the 12 games he played over 30 minutes this year, he did average 13 points, almost 7 rebounds, and over 2 assists a game on like 58-something% true shooting percentage. So pretty good numbers for when he is actually getting a role, but it's small sample size.
Yeah, and is it the chicken or the egg? Was he playing 30 minutes in those games because he was playing well, or was he playing well because he was playing 30 minutes?
Well, I mean, it was pretty much correlates with him starting and then playing heavy minutes because the team was starting to go into tank mode, I guess.
Yeah, like, that's the thing. That for me just factors in, like, flashes. You know what I mean? Like, he hasn't. And part of it is he hasn't had a consistent opportunity. Either he hasn't had the playing time or he's been injured, so it's not necessarily his fault. He just hasn't consistently proven things because, yeah, he shot 40% from 3 in January. In December, he shot 21% from 3. In November, he shot 25% from 3. So, the 40% was nice to see. It's just he needs to prove that he can be at least a league average shooter over the course of multiple months, and he hasn't done that, because that's kind of how his season was last year. I'll pull up his splits from last year. In February, he shot 12 for 22 from 3. This is last season, 54.5%. The following month of March, he was 8 for 31, which is 26%. The following month of April, he was 5 for 20, which is 25%. So he started off do you remember that last year? He started off the season shooting really well and then just fell off a cliff.
Too small sample sizes in every month, I think, but
yeah, absolutely. It's just like people say his shot looks good. He has side spin on his release. I still think he needs to fix the way the ball comes out of his hands. I'm not telling him to change anything. People got triggered at me when I suggested a potential fix, but if you just look at the rotation on the ball, he does get some side spin. I don't see it, I don't know how anybody could argue that, but so I still think maybe he needs to work on his form a little bit more.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like he's come a long way since his rookie year.
He's going to get open looks if he's playing next year, so he needs to be able to knock him down consistently.
He got a lot of open looks this year, and that was the thing, is he was sitting in the corner, and it got to the point where it's like, dude, I don't care that you're open, just cut, because you're not making threes.
Priest says, Nas being 6'5", I don't like it. We need big wings. He's got a 7'1" wingspan, man. It's not...
Yeah, he's really very solid size for a small forward. And I think that's the thing, is like, size isn't all... Like, some guys play bigger than they are because they go strong after rebounds. They, contest shots well. Like, if you're undersized for a position, it doesn't just have to do with your measurements. You can play bigger than your measurements or smaller than your measurements. I mean, Myers Leonard had great measurements, and he played like he was a freaking shooting guard on both sides of the floor.
And he follows it up by saying, if we get Jabari Smith and Tari Eason, then trade him. Why? Like, Nas would be a good backup in that scenario, I think. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, and I wouldn't...
It's not like we only need 2 forwards and we don't need any other players or something.
If we drafted Eason and we drafted Jabari, I wouldn't want Eason to be the starting 3.
Yeah.
I'd want Eason to be the backup 4 going into next season. And I want Nas to be the backup 3, and I'd want to go and find a starting 3. And then Jabari's the starting 4. That's what I would do if that happened.
And then a couple, all good mentions Cam Johnson. Feel like we have to answer this every post-game show.
Yeah,
the Suns are not going to trade Cam Johnson. Like, it's not. If they decide that the money is too tight between players, I seriously doubt he's going to be the one they decide that they need to get rid of, because he is really good. So
I think they'll let Ayton walk before they let Cam Johnson walk.
Maybe.
And I don't think they're letting Ayton walk, but like, Chris Paul can make any big man look good.
And a good question from Go Blazers 05. Do you think with Chauncey that we'll start to see players develop a little earlier in their rookie deals compared to previous under the previous regime?
I mean, we've already had the best undrafted free agent that Neil Olshey's probably ever signed. And that was Trendon Watford, the last one he signed. So,
and he was averaging, 16 and 7 over his last month or so?
Okay, is this a hot take to say Trendon Watford has proven as much in the league as Nasir Little has? Because I don't know if I believe that take, but...
Yeah, that's... Going back to what I said last post-game, most of Trendon's minutes have come post Damian Lillard injury, so I think that's a bit of a hot take. It's not like he's been playing with a lot on the line or a lot of pressure or something to win or anything like that, so it's a completely different circumstance in my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, it's a substantial chunk of minutes.
But Watford is...
And not substantial.
Has played well, but I don't think we can go that far.
Yeah, but I mean, the fact that you can bring that up and it's not absolutely idiotic is... I don't know, means something, I guess. Like, that's the thing is I would, if Nas got those minutes playing for this team, if Nas never got hurt, I'd be expecting a lot more out of him than I am out of Watford.
Yeah.
So that's the thing with Watford, where it's like what he was doing, I know it was for a bad team, but it was him exceeding expectations more than Nasir Little has ever exceeded mine. But I had higher expectations for Nasir Little.
Mm-hmm.
I guess that's kind of the way I view it. I don't know.
But, I mean, like I said, Nas was putting up solid numbers, and that was before we were fully tanking. I mean, we're kind of tanking, but, like, I don't know. I just think that's a little bit of a slight on what Nas was starting to do.
Yeah, but I mean, it's 12 games.
Well, I mean, he started more than that, but...
Where's his starter stats? Let me see. Okay, there they are.
Double E, please respond in chat with where the heck you heard that dumb rumor from.
Is this an April Fool's Day joke?
Maybe. He says there's rumors we're taking Walker Kessler with the New Orleans pick. We don't even know if we're getting the New Orleans pick yet. How would we have a like a promise to someone already?
Please tell us where you heard that.
Has he even announced he's declared for the draft yet?
Yeah, bro. People, that's a Myers Leonard type of pick. Yeah, April Fool's.
All right, all right, thanks.
He got us. See, I wasn't even gonna respond.
Well,
to
you didn't
anything
really get
like
me because, like I said, it doesn't make any sense.
But I did give him permission, so there you go. Imagine. I would rage if we took Walker Kessler like 10th or 11th. God, that'd be disgusting. I'd rather take Koloko at 11.
Yeah, 100%.
And I still wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Nas' expectations was little. Nas came into the draft super raw, not the same thing as Trendon. Trendon was super raw too. Trendon didn't even get drafted. I don't see how Nasir Little, being a first-round pick, had lower expectations than Trendon Watford being an undrafted player. But like that's the thing is like Trendon is a. What are Trendon's stats as a starter? Let me look him up.
Like I said, I think it's like 16-7 or something.
Yeah. I mean,
that might have been the last month, not as a starter. But
yeah, but like we're questioning if he should be a rotation player. But like if Nas, even if playing in the same situation that Watford's been playing, if he put up those numbers as a starter, I feel like we'd be saying, oh, he should start at the 3 next year. Because of that.
Yeah. But you do have to remember, I don't think Trendon started a single game until we were starting like Brandon Williams and those kind of players. Like, yeah. I think he maybe came in at the end of the Ant situation, but whereas Nas was still starting with like Nurk and CJ and Dame for the most part and that kind of stuff. So
yeah, but he also got to, as a guy that cuts and gets those types of buckets, he also was able to get some good looks playing next to those guys too. So I don't know.
He's smart, yeah.
I mean, the only reason that made me think of this is like, we're slotting Nas into the rotation next year, which we should. I just maybe we just. I don't know if I believe that though, but maybe we just need to put Watford in the rotation too. The problem is, it's just he's more positionally questionable, so I think that's kind of where the hang-up is, because I don't know if you want him as a backup 5. I think he's more of a 4.
Mm-hmm.
But Watford's shown enough where he should have a chance to be in the rotation next year, I think.
Yeah. But that goes along with what the question was, is I think for sure we're going to see players like that show that they deserve minutes earlier.
Yeah.
I think we're already seeing a bunch of young guys who could potentially push for roles next year.
But that's what's crazy is like we got rid of everyone for basically nothing. You know what I mean? Like we got rid of Nance and CJ for Hart, so we consolidated. Even though we were giving up the best player, we gave up obviously Rocco and Norm for 3 guys that weren't that being rotation players next year. But now it's like, well, some people like Winslow and want him to be the backup for, and then you have Watford, and then you have Nas, and then you have 2 draft picks and potentially an early second-round pick. Like, it's almost a situation where we're still going to end up with a logjam going into next year, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but I just feel like there's going to be a situation where, like, there's a guy that's like, yeah, he should be getting minutes, and he's not.
Yeah, but that's like a good problem to have versus not having enough minutes to go around.
It's just crazy because I haven't thought about this in depth, which is why it's kind of like I seem like maybe my statements are all over the place, but it's a situation next year where I didn't think it was. I figured it was going to be a situation where we'd struggle to fill out our depth, and now that I think about it,
well, you haven't mentioned Winslow either.
I just brought him up for that reason because that's the thing is I'm thinking Winslow, Ingles if we bring him back, Nasir Little, Watford, and then you got the picks, and then you got the MLE. Yeah. I'm so interested. If God, it's like every time I think about looking forward to the offseason where it's like I'm so interested to see what we do, then my subconscious is like Jeremy Grant, and I'm like, God damn it.
Yeah. Yeah. Rahi asks, are we expecting all of Hughes, Didi, and Keon to be on the team next season? No, Hughes will not be on the team. He's a free agent, and we will not re-sign him. Didi and Keon, I expect to be on the team as probably our 13th, 14th, 15th type guys.
I don't want Didi on the team next year.
Yeah.
I don't... Like, why do we even take him back?
I'm not sure, but...
He's not... he's not... To me, he's not an NBA player. I don't want Didi back. I don't want CJ Ellaby back.
I mean, I'm not going to say that yet. I haven't really... It's not like he's played much. He is suspended and then hurt, and then just came back and is just now getting back into shape for running again. So,
but like, does he have? It's like, what position is he? He's 6'5".
Yeah,
like,
I think he's got a decent wingspan, like Nas does.
That's the thing with that logjam we have. It's like I don't want to keep him. Like, I'd rather. I don't know, dude. And then you have Bledsoe too, like who could be on the roster next year. Dude, I forget Bledsoe even exists and is even on our roster.
Yeah.
So I'm getting headaches thinking about this. I don't know if people are going to want to be the Blazers in the mock offseason because A, that's a lot of pressure, and B, like this year in particular, it's going to be a headache.
Would you rather have Sohan or Eason?
I liked Eason, but I don't know. Dude, I don't even know why, but I'm not as high on Eason as I was.
I'm still high on Eason. I mean, 11 or 12, I'd take him probably, but if our second pick's like 9 or 10, that's tough.
I feel like Eason could be like one of those guys who was good offensively in college, but then gets to the NBA and is just a negative. Because he's not a particularly good ball handler. I don't trust his jumper.
Yeah, but he's
improved raw off the dribble.
I do like that he improved it.
Yeah, and I'm not saying he will be. I'm just saying like he's one of those guys where I'm worried about his offense.
To me, Sohan's a power forward and can't really, like, I guess you could play some small ball center, but it's kind of like Trendon, whereas his best position and probably only position is power forward, whereas Eason could probably play both forward positions. Why
is Eason more of a small forward in your opinion? I'm curious. I don't necessarily disagree. I just want to know the reasoning.
I just feel like he's more fluid in his movements. Like he could play small forward, stick with quicker. Not that Sohan can't, but I feel like Sohan's a little like just his play style is more that of a power forward, and Eason's more of a small forward, but he's in a power forward body type, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. So I feel like he could play either. But so this comes back to me. where our first pick goes, right? So if we get like AJ Griffin, I'd probably want Sohan more because then you have both your forward spots. You have one for each, right? And Sohan and Eason have a close enough grade to where you can start factoring in position, even though in most cases I'm just saying take the best player. But if we get like Jabari or something, then maybe Eason makes a little more sense
Yeah.
because Jabari is such a good shooter, and then Eason can play off of him and stuff. Like, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. Like Jared said, Eason's way better on the perimeter. I don't know if you mean offensively or defensively. Like, Sohan can pass.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that's intriguing with Sohan is he can pass the ball. At 6'9", playing the power forward, if you have a guy that can handle the ball and pass, then that is something that should translate to the NBA. Eason isn't a guy who finds his teammates. He averaged 1 assist per game, averaged 2.2 turnovers per game. I said the magic number, but so he more than twice as many turnovers than assists. He shot 36% from three, but his form is a little weird. He did shoot 80% from the free throw line, so maybe I should give his shooting more credit. I don't know.
Sohan's not a good shooter either.
Yeah. So like Eason's ahead of him in that department. I don't know. I just don't know how Eason's going to be offensively. That's why I'm a little bit more hesitant on him.
See, I think, well, I mean, you could say this about anyone, I guess, under Chauncey, but I feel like the way Eason gets his baskets, like there's hidden playmaking potential there, whereas Sohan already shows that he could be like kind of a Nick Batum type secondary, not necessarily point guard, but run the offense through him. So I think they're both intriguing for different reasons, and they can both potentially pass in different ways. Sohan's definitely probably the smarter of the two players, but
yeah, I mean, hidden playmaking potential would be the way to describe it because it's hidden to me because I just don't see it. I just didn't see it when he played this year. I mean, that's the thing though, is like Bam Adebayo wasn't a playmaker at all in college, and look at him now. You know what I mean? So it's hard to even project playmaking with certain guys. Ant came into the league, didn't make plays for others at all, and then took a huge jump this year. So under Chauncey, Eason, I wouldn't rule him out becoming that guy. It's just when you have more than twice as many turnovers than assists, only average 1 assist per game when the ball's in your hands a lot when you're on the court. I would have liked to have seen a better performance there from him.
super efficient though. Otherwise,
Yeah, 52% from the field, 36% from three, 80% from the free throw line. You like that? A lot of his drives, he wasn't necessarily beating guys. He's just getting his shoulder by guys and just kind of, I don't know. I don't know if his dribble drive game is going to translate super well.
It's always weird because I think the complete opposite. I think he's great on drives, and we'll be able to translate that to the next level. That's why I liked him so much from the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I thought initially too. So I don't know. Dude, it's so hard to predict certain things that translate. And that's the thing, is what you got to do as a scout is figure out what translates, because you'll have a guy look phenomenal in college and his game doesn't translate to the league, and you'll have a guy whose game translates beautifully to the league and he's taken as a late first, second round pick and ends up becoming a great player. So that's kind of the hardest part, in my opinion, being a scout, is what's going to translate and what's not going to translate, because it's basketball and it's high level basketball, but the NBA game's noticeably different from the college game. So I don't know. It could be a case where I'm overthinking Eason. Dude, it's gonna be fun to look back on this draft in 5 years, because this is gonna be the most me and you have ever paid attention to any draft ever. So it's gonna be interesting to see who is more spot on. I would still probably put Eason above Sohan. It's just, I haven't watched Eason recently too, so I need to watch some tape on him. It's been a minute. The last time I watched him was in that first round in which they lost to Iowa State, so maybe that left a sour taste in my mouth. I don't know. I'll have to do some more research.
Well, it's so weird because, actually, it's fresh in my mind, I guess, because I was watching one of the old games I had on my DVR for him 2 days ago. And I'm always puzzled with him because it's like he barely played in some of the games I watched, and it's like, why is he not starting and playing more on this team? I don't get it. But
yeah, Habib is sitting here in chat being ridiculous and calling us haters. He said haters plural. I don't know what the hell he's talking about, but anyway. You gotta love that. Have an opinion that's not glowingly positive and you're a hater, man. Gotta love that sort of culture. That's just the thing nowadays.
Well, he's Murray and Eason are his guys, so he does not like you probably.
Okay, yeah, whatever. That's the thing. Are my guys? I've been sticking to it for a month if Portland can't get big. So you're one of those guys who just comes up with an opinion and it can't change at all. Got you. All right. That's the thing. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know everything about, every player in the draft. I'll admit when I need to watch guys more. And and that's the thing. And I've probably watched Tari Eason more than Habib has. And I'll still sit here and say I need to watch more Tari Eason, right? Instead of just saying, oh, if you have bad things to say about him, you're a hater. Because I watched 6 LSU games pretty much in full over the course of the year. LSU is actually one of the teams that I've watched the most of this season. Not as much as Auburn, Arizona, Gonzaga, obviously, but other than those 3 teams, I'll probably watch LSU more than any other team this year. I don't really know why, but the game where Pinson went down with his knee injury, I was watching that game. I've watched a lot of Tari Eason. I'll still admit that I need to watch more of him. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I know it all about him and that, I'm more educated than I am. So, anyway.
What grade would you give the Blazers if they draft A.J. Griffin at 6 and Mark Williams at 12?
Mark Williams at 12 is a reach. At that point, just trade down. I would give them it depends on A.J. Griffin's measurements too, but I'd give them a C- in that draft.
I don't think he's that much of a reach. I think he's going to go in the 13 to 16 range. So I don't know about that. But
I just don't think taking Mark Williams raises our ceiling with Dame.
Yeah.
I'd rather just trade down and take one of him or Koloko, because that's the thing is one of those guys is probably going to be available at 18 or something. Trade down to 18. And then if both those guys are taken, then you might have an Agbaji on the board somehow, you know what I mean? Or a Jovic at that point. So I'd rather just trade down and get extra assets there.
Mm-hmm.
XC Depp, is that an April Fool's joke? I'm going to have to Google that.
He's not related to him. He's messing with you.
No, I know, but I thought that the other day. I was like, Shaden Sharp. Weird that he never talks about that. That's funny. But yeah, I wouldn't want Mark Williams at 12. I honestly probably wouldn't want to stay at 12 no matter what. I'd want to trade down because there's a lot of players I have equally ranked there, and I would just rather have another asset and just take one of them. But if we move into the top 4, I'm more comfortable staying at 12 if Agbaji's there. If we move into the top 4... or move into the top 3 and get one of the 3 power forwards, then I want Agbaji more. If we stay at 7 and we take Mathurin, then I want Agbaji less.
Right. That's goes back to my Sadiq Bey thing. So I actually have Agbaji in my top 10 on my board, but I'm not taking him at 11 or 12 even though he might be my highest rated player on the board if we have Mathurin, who I have one spot ahead of him in my rankings.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Cool. So Pelicans-Lakers are still playing right now. It's in the 4th quarter. The Lakers are up 6, 98-92.
Let's go.
CJ McCollum is 11 for 19 from the field, 4 for 8 from 3. He has 28 points, 5 rebounds, 2 assists. Good game for him. Ingram is 9 for 13 as well, 23 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. So those two are playing well. But nobody can hit a 3 other than CJ.
Rahi has a question about that 1 for 4 with the Kings scenario we had earlier. Would you trade 1 for 4 in Harrison Barnes, Tori?
Does Harrison Barnes fit into the TPE?
I think he does. Yeah, I think it's like 18 million next year or something.
I just don't think Harrison Barnes is a good defensive player. I think he's
Harrison Barnes does not help us, especially the contract. Yeah, I absolutely do not do that.
Would you do 1 for? If Detroit's at 4, would you do 1 for 4 in Jeremy Grant? Okay, would you rather have 1 for 4 in Harrison Barnes or 1 for 4 in Jeremy Grant?
Neither.
Okay, who do you want the least out of Jeremy Grant and Harrison Barnes?
Jeremy Grant, because Harrison Barnes likely either will not ask for an extension, or if he does, it'll be in the like 14, 15 million range versus 25 million for Grant. So,
okay. Yeah.
But I don't want either of those guys, and I'm not trading. Like, we wouldn't have to be forced to trade for one of those two if we had one. And I don't understand if we get Jabari, Chet, or Paulo, why we'd even need Jeremy Grant anymore.
Yeah. Is there any...
Oh, wait. Never mind.
What?
I love Jeremy Grant. Let's trade for Jeremy Grant. Let's trade number 1 for Jeremy Grant. Screw getting number 4.
What? Do you just remember it's April 1st or something?
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no. See, that's the thing, is no... Dude, even an extraterrestrial wouldn't buy that from you, man.
Yeah.
We've said too many times. But is there... Okay, if we had the number 1 pick... Oh, you're going to hate this question. Never mind.
Go for it.
If we have the number 1 pick... I don't know which team we'd trade down for, but hypothetically, if we had the number 1 pick and we really like Shaedon Sharpe and wanted to trade down, how good would the player we'd get with the pick we're trading down for have to be? Like, would you trade 1 for Shaedon Sharpe and OG Anunoby, hypothetically? The problem is that Toronto's not in the lottery. So is there any team in the lottery, I guess, where you'd be comfortable trading out of the top, 1 or 2 down to 6 to take Sharpe and get a good player back?
Well, this goes back to my OKC question from last stream. Like, if they offered us their pick unprotected next year,
oh yeah,
for and like 6 or whatever to go up to 1. Let's see. Short of maybe Cade Cunningham, I don't see any reason why I would do that with Detroit. Houston, I don't think there's anyone I would do that for.
Orlando. Jalen Suggs. Just kidding.
I mean, I'm still not as good as like Franz Wagner or someone would be. I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily better than Jabari, so probably not. Then who else do we have?
Indiana.
OKC. I'm not probably doing it. I mean, unless they gave us like I said, a really good future pick on top of it, of getting like 2 firsts this year and like 1 or like 6, 15 and a future first and maybe a player or something.
Yeah. Indiana, Halliburton and Sharpe for a top 3 pick or top 2 pick.
I don't know if Halliburton. It's the same. It goes back to the Ivy thing for me,
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
And then you trade Ant for. You'd have to try and sign and trade him for
I'd rather
4,
just keep
and
Ant.
that's just
And then
Kings.
Kings, there's no one I'm doing that for.
See, but like maybe but what if the Kings were willing to trade Sabonis and you trade him to a third team?
I'd be worried that we wouldn't trade him to a third team with the way our front office is.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it would take probably multiple future unprotected picks from like teams that aren't projected to be good to do that, I think.
Yeah, or maybe they're ready to move off Fox. I don't know. I'm trying to think of just hypotheticals we haven't talked about.
But why would we want?
I'm starting to get a little complicated. Well, no, Fox to a third team. Fox to Boston for Jaylen Brown. I don't know, dude.
So they should have done. They should have traded Fox instead of Halliburton, but
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, Franz Wagner's interesting. See, like if Orlando's 3 and we're 1. I wonder if they would fall in love, because Orlando kind of sucks as a franchise. This past draft they did decently, but I wonder if there'd be a prospect that they'd love enough where you could trade 1 down for 3 in Wagner. Maybe you have to give up like a Keon Johnson or something, but I don't think Orlando does that, but I mean, that would be a dream. I would do that in a heartbeat. It'd be a fleecing, yeah, but
4 and Herb Jones for 1.
Ooh, bro. Okay, well, yeah, like the Lakers pick ends up 4.
Yeah.
See, I don't think they'd do that because I think they'd be happy with Ivy there. But yeah, that would be. We're just gonna end up 8th, unfortunately. Nope, just simulated the lottery. We got 3rd. Anyway, anything else? Shout out Dizzy D. Oh, Dizzy D's in chat with the dono, Eric. What's up, Dizzy D?
Making a live
dono.
stream.
Yeah. It says, add the 2 number 1 with contracts and get a game changer.
Who the?
Yeah, who would be the game changer, Dizzy D? Appreciate the $2 dono. That'll be the last kind of question we take for this room because it was a dono. What names are you thinking of in terms of game changers? Let us know.
Michael, we can't trade Anthony for the number 1 pick because the draft takes place beforehand, and I don't think Anthony has that kind of value even with how good he is.
Yeah.
I'm not...
I would trade the 2 number 1s with... If you could sign them and their matching salary was enough with Bledsoe, and you could do that for Siakam, I'd do it if the Portland pick didn't move up.
Like 7 and 11 for and Bledsoe. But yeah, the problem is it doesn't quite work out.
Because Bledsoe's...
I mean, unless we...
You'd have to get to 28 mil, so the rookies would have to add up to like 9 mil. And you could toss in like a Lozada, so the rookies would have to add up to like 7.5 mil, right? So
yeah.
Or you could toss in Winslow. I keep forgetting Winslow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do like Winslow, Bledsoe, and the picks. They just couldn't play in Summer League. It'd screw them over. But I would do that. If the pick moves up to the top 3, I wouldn't do it.
I don't think there's many players I would trade a top 3 pick for.
Yeah. I mean, Jaylen Brown you'd have to consider. But that's the thing, is matching salaries tough, and none of the guys that we could come up with, Dizzy D, that's why I asked you for names, is you could probably come up with a bunch of different guys who, would be good, but all their situations are unlikely. Now, I made this point on the last post-game show, we talked about this, so maybe go watch that back, but, that's the thing, is if you have 6 potential top-end targets, and, if you just look at each situation, I can't talk. If you look at each situation individually, let's say all their situations are unlikely that they get traded, but you have enough different potential targets. At that point, even if you look at one player and it's unlikely to get traded, if you're looking at 6 different players, one of them probably becomes available. or potentially becomes available. So, but who knows who that is? It could be the Lakers deciding to blow things up. It could be the Celtics flaming out in the playoffs, and then maybe they're willing to move Jaylen Brown. It could be the Raptors' 3-forward lineup not working in the playoffs, and them deciding to trade one of OG or Pascal Siakam so they can start whichever one they keep in Scotty Barnes at the 2 forward positions. It could be, you know what I mean? Like, none of those situations are unlikely, but something could happen. It's just hard to come up with names. Zion? I mean, I would be... We talked about this a little bit ago. I'd be
so scared.
I'd be scared to roll the dice.
I mean, you probably have to do it, but yeah, I'd be super scared to do it.
I would be too.
And you pretty much have to give him a max contract, right?
Yeah. And
because he's in the Nas draft, right? So
yeah, he's not a good defender, is he?
No. Because he cherry picks.
So he can dunk the ball.
He can't make it up and down the court, so he just stays there on offense. And
April Fools. Zion was an April Fools. I mean, I don't know if that's an April Fools. So that's like a situation that's it's unlikely he gets traded, but you can't rule it out. So that's the thing. If you're talking about him, Jaylen Brown, one of Pascal Siakam or OG Anunoby, and maybe the Lakers guys with LeBron and AD, none of those situations are likely, but I don't know. If you said one of those guys is going to get traded this offseason, I would maybe bet on that.
Yeah, it's just... I mean, it'd be nice to have Norm's contract right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Disagree, Reese. But you just have to get him bought in defensively. But Jaylen Brown's the number 2 for a team that looks like true contenders right now. So I would take him. But that's the problem. They look like true contenders, so it's probably a moot point. Anyway, anything else, Eric?
No, thanks everyone for watching. It's been a fun show, and hope everyone has a good weekend until Sunday.
Yep, we'll catch you on Sunday with the post-game show. That stream will be shorter. What's up?
I was just going to say, if you are interested in draft prospects, there are a lot playing on Saturday night. Should be a really exciting game, especially Duke, North Carolina. So if you're a fan of the draft or want to know more about some of these prospects, just watch the Duke game, because there's five players out of the basically 6 they play on Duke that will all be scoutable players. You can take a look at them, especially Ben Caro and AJ Griffin. And then, the North Carolina might have a couple of, second round guys like Caleb Love. And then, of course, Kansas also has Ochai Agbaji and kind of a fringe first round player in Christian Braun.
Yeah. Yep.
So it should be an exciting action.
Too bad you can't scout Chet Holmgren tomorrow. Anyway.
They would have lost to Duke anyway. Saved you some trouble.
What are you talking about? They played to the wire earlier this season.
I'm just joking.
Anyway. Yeah. We should be playing tomorrow, man. I'm never going to win a freaking championship. Anyway. Hope you guys enjoyed the stream. We will catch you guys on Sunday. And maybe we'll talk a little bit about. I don't know if I'm gonna watch the Final Four, Eric. I'm still not 100% over the fact that we freaking lost to freaking Arkansas. Anyway, it would have been easier to handle losing to Duke, because at least Duke's a legitimate team.
Well, like I said, I'm watching because I want to continue my scouting of those players I mentioned. Yeah. Unfortunately, Justin Moore going down, that sucks for Villanova.
I'll just let you do the scouting on those guys. Maybe I'll watch, maybe I won't. I don't know. I'll just take your word for it.
It'd be cool to have a Duke-Kansas final because there'd be 7 legit possible first-round picks in that game. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yep. Anyway, hope you guys have a good rest of your Friday night and a good Saturday. We will catch you again on Sunday with a post-game show. We only got 5 games left in the season, so, enjoy this little bit of Blazers basketball before it's gone. Blazers are pretty much locked into 6th place in lottery odds unless the Pacers can win a couple of games, or unless the Blazers win a couple of games to catch Sacramento. But it's kind of nice being
1-point game, 3:45 left after CJ makes a
This game is on NBA TV with the Lakers and the Pelicans. If the Pelicans win this game, they are pretty much locked into a play-in. If they lose this game, there's still a chance that the Lakers and the Spurs can make it over them. It's still a long shot, but it's actually possible. So this game matters. And this game also definitely matters for the Lakers if they want to be in that play-in game against the Pelicans. So good game down to the wire with the Lakers and the Pelicans, with implications for the play-in, with implications for the Blazers due to that Pelicans pick. 3 minutes, 17 seconds remaining. Lakers up 1. So we're going to sign off. I'm going to watch the rest of this game, Eric, and I hope you have a good rest of your night. I hope everybody watching has a good rest of your night. We'll catch you again on Sunday. Until then, as always, peace out. Go Blazers.